Hello, welcome to episode 28 of live.withcode.uk. This week we're going to create some functions, look at functions and parameters and return values to make a program that asks the user to type in a password and it will tell you how secure it is. So this is a really weak password. It gets 1 out of 4 in the rating. It contains lowercase letters. If we put in some capital letters in as well, it's going to be a bit more secure, password strength 2. If we put in some numbers, so that's a 0 on the end, it gets 3 out of 4 so far. And then let's see, HELL 0, ABC. So if we go over 7 characters, then we go up to 4. And there's a challenge at the end to make the rating go up to 5 if you put some special characters in, like punctuation, things like that. The whole point of today is to understand how to create your own functions, understand what a function definition is, understand how to use the parameters that you get into your functions, and the return value that comes back out of your functions. So it's live coding. We're going to build it up from start to finish, not from top to bottom, just kind of logically as so you can see the program evolve. First of all, we're going to ask a question. So please enter a password to see how secure it is. So that's a built-in function to Python. We haven't told Python how to input, it just knows. And then the answer to the question at the moment is just lost. We want to get that return value and store it somewhere. So we're going to make a variable called password and assign the value that's returned from the built-in function input, assign that to this variable here. Then I'd like to be able to work out how strong that password is. So wouldn't it be great if we could have some kind of magic function that said, work out the password strength of that password that we've just put in. If we run it at the moment, it's going to crash because it doesn't know how to calculate the password strength. So that's our job. We're going to create a function that does that. The function definition has to be above where you use it. If we're using it on my line 7, I'm going to define it up here. So we put the name of the function, and then it needs some parameters. We need to know which password to find the password strength of. So I'm going to call it password. I've used the same thing down here, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anything, literally anything in there. But I'm going to keep it as password for now. Okay, so how on earth do we do that? Well, let's think of our checks. So I'm going to put these in as comments for now. Check if the password contains any numbers, and we're going to check if the password contains any lowercase characters. I'm just going to call them chars, make it a bit faster to type them out. Check if the password contains any uppercase. So uppercase just means capital letters. And then finally, check if the password is more than 7 characters long. You can have any length that you like on your password checker. So for now, we're going to make a local variable, as in a variable called strength, and set it to 0. So it should run at the moment. So if we put in a password, it looks like it's run, but we have a bit of a problem because if we say the password and then say what the password was, is, or let's say password security for, and then the password is, and then the value. So let's have a look. Please enter a password. Now this might confuse some of you. We've taken we've called password strength, we've set strength to 0, and we've tried to assign that value back here, and it says it's none. Well, it's not none, we wanted it to be 0. What we've forgotten to do is return that value so it passes it back. This strength is a local variable. It only exists within this subprogram, this function. In order to be able to access it from the main program, we have to return it. So we say return and then the name of the variable. Let's try. So now there we go. We've passed the value back from the function back to here so that we can save it into this value here and display it on line 15. So that's much better. What we're going to try and do now is actually do those checks. So probably the easiest one to do down at the bottom will say if the password, so the length of that password, another built-in function built into Python. So that takes one parameter, one argument, and we'll find out how long that is. And if that length is more than 7, then notice every line that has a colon on the end, the next line is going to be indented. We're just going to increase strength by 1. So hopefully that's going to be 0, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be password strength 1. So we've got the logic now. We just need to add more tests in here. So there are all sorts of different ways to do this. If I was writing it properly, I'd probably use regular expressions for this, but they're more complicated than I want to explain in this video. So we're actually going to define a new function. So let's see. I think it would be great if we could have a function that could count how many of each character appears in a word. So let's call it count characters. We want to say what we're searching in and what we're searching for. So what do I mean by that? For now, I'm just going to say pass. If I don't put that in, I'll have an error. Pass doesn't actually do anything. It just prevents there from being an error because there's no body, there's no code inside that function, but it doesn't do anything yet. What I want to do is say that, well, let's first of all count how many numbers we've got. The numbers is, well, let's use that function we've just defined, count characters. What are we going to search in? So our first parameter is going to be what we're searching in. That's going to be this password, which is what the user just typed in. What are we going to search for? Well, I'd like to search for any numerical character. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we have any of those, I want to count up how many we've got, return it, so that we can store it in here. Then we can say if numbers is more than 0, set the strength to whatever the strength was plus 1. So we're incrementing it. And then all of this we can just repeat on here. So you can use your functions as many times as you like. But now we're going to count how many lowercase letters we've got. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And then if lowercase is more than 0, there we go. Similarly, let's do that for uppercase characters. Oops. But this time, let's change that to uppercase. So the idea of you making your own functions is you can repeat your code as much as you like and make it a bit more human readable because, sorry, I can't talk whilst I type. K, L, H, I've just proved myself wrong, haven't I? That I can't type and talk at the same time. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So yeah, hopefully your code is a bit more readable for humans if you use a name to describe your function that describes what the function should do. So I don't think this will work yet. If I put in a password that should supposedly be secure with a capital letter, a lowercase letter, a number, and then lots of other stuff to make it over 7, it still thinks it's just password strength 1. Why? Well, it doesn't give us any errors yet, but this count is never going to return the right number. It doesn't actually do the counting yet. So let's try and do that, shall we? So first of all, let's say we haven't found any of what we're looking for inside what we're looking in. So we'll make an integer variable and set it to 0. Then we'll loop through every character in what we're searching in. So for character in search in, that's going to loop through every single character in our password. If the password was hello, character would be H, and then loop round again. For character is E, and then loop round again. For L and O, it's going to loop round each time. And if the character that we're looking at the moment is in this string here containing all of the things we're looking for, then we can just increase our count. So for character in search for, then found plus equals 1. Again, there are lots of ways of doing this. This isn't necessarily the most efficient. There are libraries built in that will do this for you, but I hope this is one of the easiest ways to understand it. Then finally, once we've finished going through every character, so it's important that the indentation lines up with the start of the for loop here, because we don't want this to happen for every character, or only if we find the character we're looking for. We want it to happen after we've finished repeating. We return how many characters we found. Right, let's test it. Blank password, 0. Good. Next, just a capital letter. Interesting, so it hasn't found any capital letters. I wonder why. So for each character in search in, if character in search for, let's see. So we've got a 4 there. Why didn't we get something for uppercase? Here we go. We've got a logic error here. We're saying if lowercase is more than 0, that should say uppercase. Right, let's try. Good, we get a password security level of 1 here. That's better. So does it detect a lowercase? Yep. Does it detect an uppercase? Yep. Does it detect a number? So you've got a couple of challenges to work through here. We've defined our own 2 functions. Your challenges are, you've got 3 to work through. Let's have a look. So first of all, I'd like you to make it so that if it detects any special characters, increase the password strength. So increase the password strength by 1 if any special characters, so that means any punctuation, are detected, because that will make it a bit more secure and harder for somebody to brute force if you go through all of them. Challenge 2, set the password strength to 0 if the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even better, if you have a list of common passwords, if it detects the password in that list, then it just puts the strength right back down to 0. And then finally, make program display some hints for how to make the password more secure. So for this one, rather than just saying increase your password strength by 1 if it's found something, you could put else in here and then put a little message. Your password would be more secure if you included some uppercase characters. Or on this one, else, your password would be more secure if you contain some lowercase characters. So those are your challenges. Remember, in the link underneath this video in the description on YouTube, you'll find some remote learning interactive activities, all free to do. You can type out the code as fast as you like to build up your speed and your accuracy. You can access the code. You can do some of the K-Pride activities to identify all of the key concepts in the code, and there's a keyword challenge in there as well. Thanks ever so much for listening. Look after yourself, and I will see you next week.